Pilsen is the main neighborhood in Chicago's Lower West Side. It is the heart of the Mexican-American community in the Chicagoland area. Originally, Pilsen was inhabited by Czech immigrants who named the district after Pilsen, the fourth largest city in what is now the Czech Republic. I had the pleasure of traveling to the Czech Republic this summer and visited the city of Pilsen and the Pilsen Urquell Brewery, established there in 1842. This made my exploration of Pilsen, Illinois all the more interesting. In the 1970s, Latinos became the majority population in Pilsen. In particular, Mexicans made up about 36% of the residents in 1973. The Mexican population continued to increase, and in the 1980s, 95% of the people living in Pilsen had some Mexican ancestry. No trip to Pilsen nor investigation of Mexican culture in Chicagoland would be complete without a visit to the National Museum of Mexican Art. What a gem! Its mission is to showcase Mexican culture, develop and preserve a collection of Mexican art, encourage professional development of Mexican artists, and offer arts education programs. On my visit to the museum, I participated in an arts class given that day. It was called Tortilla Social Printing. I wondered, what do tortillas have to do with art? As I would soon discover, the Tortilla Social was an interactive printing workshop that featured a multifunctional tortilla press built by the artist Salvador Jimenez Flores. We were shown how to make impressions on styrofoam squares. These ink-laden impressions are combined with paper and put into the tortilla press. Moments later, your image is ready for further coloring, or whatever else an artist decides to do with it. The workshop was packed with people of all ages, and I made a new friend named Maria. Her son was one of the volunteers here. Maria and I were all thumbs when we started our projects. I reassured her that her art was unique, original, and beautiful. With that, she was able to have confidence and relax. Here is the artwork I made at the workshop. I am proud of the effort I put into it and the fact I tried something outside of my comfort zone. I was completely involved in the making of the project. I enjoyed the creativity, concentration, and energy as I felt as I worked on it. This community center invites the public to attend these workshops free of charge. Here you can try new things, be social, interact with the community, and surround yourself with positive influences as you learn to express yourself through art. I took many pictures of the artwork in the museum's exhibits. Here are just a few that drew my attention. I enjoy looking at art and how it depicts people in their daily lives. It is a story told within a moment of time. Here is Francisco, a street vendor, and Ishmael, a resident who I asked to take a picture of me. They were both born in Mexico and were very friendly and easy to talk to. 90% of the people I saw this day were Hispanic. This is a good example of cultural pluralism, where people of various ethnicities and cultures cluster in adjacent areas but generally do not mix. As I walked and drove through this neighborhood, I couldn't help but notice that many buildings were being renovated. There was a mix of new construction with restorations. You can tell that this is a community being refurbished. I also noticed that it wasn't the locals doing the work. It seemed like each was a small investment project, like modernization was invading the historical motif. Gentrification. Today, Pilsen is still majority Hispanic, but many have left since 2000. Gentrification is a process of renovating and improving a house or district to middle-class taste. It often forces out longtime locals that can no longer afford to live in their neighborhoods. The number of whites grew 22% from 2000 to 2013. Pilsen is still a low-income working-class community. It has undergone a slower gentrification than some other Chicago neighborhoods, such as Wicker Park or Westtown. I had the pleasure of having lunch at an authentic Mexican restaurant. I ate at El Milagro Taqueria. The food was amazing, the staff super friendly, and it was an immersive experience. It's hard to believe that in this community you can really escape for an afternoon and enjoy a staycation close to home, but feel like you're in another part of the world. My lunch at El Milagro was bistec asado con arroz y frijoles. I had skirt steak with rice and beans. This is a classic Mexican dish, and it was prepared with love. The taste and portions were great, and the price was cheap. I recommend this place for lunch if you're looking for authentic Mexican cuisine. Marcos Raya and Hector Duarte are the two most famous muralists in Pilsen. Their work is a continuation of the Mexican muralist tradition, which spurred on the Mexican Revolution of 1910, used murals to communicate with a large illiterate population, and address problems of worker conditions, poverty, and agricultural reform. Duarte and Raya were inspired by Mexican muralist tradition. Their work originated in the Chicano movement of 1960s, and their work represents the disenfranchisement of Mexican Americans. Hector Duarte, born in 1952, Michoacan, Mexico. He studied mural painting at the workshop of David Siqueiros in 1977, and since moving to Chicago in 1985, Duarte has participated in the creation of more than 45 murals. In summary, we have discussed the development of the immigrant community on the Lower West Side of Chicago, how gentrification is affecting this community. We have looked at the food scene. I shared my experience at the National Museum of Mexican Art, and most recognizably, we talked about Pilsen's murals and a brief history of how these muralists developed.